Using the same tag Google used to organize information, OriginTrail is organizing humanity's most important Web3 assets, making them discoverable, verifiable, and valuable. What we're going to cover today is general idea of what is OriginTrail and what is the decentralized knowledge graph. This interview will take you from OriginTrail 0 to OriginTrail Hero within 7 topics. Firstly, let's welcome the guest of today, and please briefly introduce yourself to our audience.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having us on this podcast. We're both co-founders of OriginTrail. My name is Žiga. On the other side, with me, Tomaz as well. We both, together with Branimir, which is the third co-founder, launched OriginTrail as an open source project back in 2017. And throughout those last years, we have been working on a decentralized knowledge graph, which is being supported by a network of several hundreds of nodes globally, and it's a permissionless network. As the name tells you, it's a decentralized knowledge graph, meaning that we have 2 core components within this technology. One of them is blockchain, which you all know very much, quite a lot about, and the other one is knowledge graph. And the knowledge graphs are typically used by some of the biggest and most important successful companies in the world, such as Google, Amazon. I'm sure there are plenty of other companies which are also using it, but the most famous applications are perhaps the ones with Google and Amazon. And they're essentially using knowledge graphs to connect information about you so that they can better target you and then sell you stuff and services online. What we did, we took the same technology Google uses, Facebook uses, and other big companies use, and then merged it with the blockchain in order to achieve several important things for mankind. One of them is that once information is exchanged via a decentralized knowledge graph, this information is not owned by us. So that's clearly different than what Google and Facebook do when they appropriate your data. We don't do that. You still remain in full control of your data, of your information. And whilst, of course, also preserving verifiability of that information. And what we have been working on lately a lot on is version 6, which from just a few days ago already runs on top of the OriginTrail parachain testnet, soon to be released on the OriginTrail parachain mainnet. And this decentralized knowledge graph, the new version, is going to allow for companies, individuals to exchange not only information, but also assets. And in that way, they're going to be able to participate in this bourgeoising knowledge economy of the future. We have been developing OriginTrail for several years. Even before going into the Web3 space, we have been working with companies, helping them establish better traceability, transparency, and trust in supply chains. And as a consequence of working with companies for years, OriginTrail decentralized knowledge graph is already used by several prominent companies. We are exclusive provider for blockchain technologies for the British Standards Institution and several other companies. And working with companies like that, we have managed to establish collaboration with the likes of Scan Association, which is essentially an association of the biggest retailers in the US, such as Walmart, Costco. And what they do by using OriginTrail, they're exchanging audit reports on over 20,000 companies, I think mainly from China, so that they would not need to report or conduct the same audit on the same factor. So instead of doing so, they would exchange audit report and achieve efficiencies, etc. We're also present in pharmaceutical supply chains, and also right now we're developing several kind of, let's say, community to user or community to community members solutions which are using OriginTrail decentralized knowledge graph. One of them introduced yesterday is called Project Magnify, which is allowing anybody to just connect this world of vast information about you, about users, and then essentially create search results for anything that you deem appropriate, be it things within the metaverse, things within the social media, etc. So by and large, OriginTrail is a very wide project, very wide network, which is being used by both the biggest organizations in the world and individuals alike. Perhaps that's a semi-long introduction. I'm sure Tomaz will add much more to this. But I think I have somehow depleted my intro.
Wow, amazing. You've covered so much in your introduction, but I will still ask the general questions one by one, so that our audience can get your ideas. So our first topic is, what is OriginTrail? There's a lot of explanations out there. Could you explain it in plain language so that our non-tech savvy audience could easily understand? You can also share more background story of yourself, like why you started OriginTrail.
All right, let me take a step at the second question, and hi to everyone as well. This is Thomas, like Žiga made the introduction before. So OriginTrail, like you both already kind of touched upon, is an ecosystem that organizes humanity's most important assets by making them discoverable, verifiable, and valuable. And when we look at what those assets are or can be, we really think very inclusively in a way, or very widely. So a lot of different things can be described as an asset in OriginTrail. They can be things like real world items, like a pharmaceutical, medicine. It could be a luxury item, or it could be something that's a natively digital asset, like an NFT in metaverse. And all of these things basically have a common denominator in OriginTrail ecosystem. By the way, because we can identify them as the same thing. So you can really neatly kind of then create this organized universe of different assets, which span from the metaverse all the way to the real world asset. And why would you want to do that? Is because you want to make it discoverable. So you want to be able to find those assets very easily. You want to make them verifiable. So you want to make sure that when you're looking at a particular asset, again, whether that's a claim for an NFT or whether that's a claim about your expensive handbag, or is it a claim about a whiskey that you want to drink, you want to verify those assets and those claims. And thirdly, you want to make them valuable. So you don't want to have them just be kind of stuck in the moment, but you want to have them the capability to expand. And that's really what OriginTrail focuses on. When we talk about what OriginTrail is, like Žiga mentioned, it's a marriage of two very powerful technologies. So on the one hand, we have blockchain, and just kind of this year, and also very kind of excitedly, OriginTrail extended the footprint into our own blockchain, which is OriginTrail Parachain, which was launched in June and is right now receiving all these important updates. And blockchain is really powerful because we need it for, when you think about how do we do this, how do we organize assets, we need things like identities, we need things like smart contracts, we need things like verifiability and immutability, and all of these things is where OriginTrail drawing from the blockchain layer. And then on the second layer, we have the decentralized knowledge graph, which is what you mentioned as well. And decentralized knowledge graph is basically taking this Web2 powerful technology of Facebook being able to organize information about everyone, or any other basically social media platform uses the same way of organizing their data about their assets in a way, but they're not assets. So they're organizing data about yourself, about your posts, about your claims, or about the products you buy. And what we've taken is this powerful database and we've created a decentralized version of it. So a decentralized knowledge graph. And why is it important that it's decentralized? Because it's not owned by any single company, but rather it allows all of us to inclusively grow it. So you can add more assets into it. I can add more assets into it. The Scan Association can add assets around the security audit reports of these 21,000 companies, mainly in China as well. And all of these assets can have a single or a neutral way of living together and being able to interact with each other very easily because they have the same structure. So that's kind of like a little bit of the what OriginTrail does. Yeah, Žiga, do you want to fill in anything at this point, or do we want to jump forward? I think that's the why and the what.
Yeah, it's great. And you've mentioned the decentralized knowledge graph, and it's used like OriginTrail protocol utilized the decentralized knowledge graph with a goal of building a privacy-first decentralized knowledge graph, effectively bypassing the constraints of the underlying blockchain network imposed by the nature of a consensus mechanism. Do you want to know more about how knowledge graph are used today, and if possible, can make a more clear explanation of what is knowledge graph.
Yeah, I can extend a little bit then, and then Žiga can fill in any of the gaps. So knowledge graphs are very kind of like already a mature technology in a way, because Google made them popular when they were really growing and mapping out the World Wide Web. Social networks were using them to describe and create connections between the users that they were creating databases for. Like organizations like Amazon or any type of online retailers, they use it because it's very good to describe more information about products using this database. And so basically, wherever you have a situation where you want to create a lot of connections, this is where a knowledge graph is very powerful. And today, that's like one of the secrets of the Web2 giants of how they are able to extract so much value out of the data that they have, because they create knowledge graphs out of that data. And those knowledge graphs are then very useful, because if you ask that database a question about who are Tomaz friends, he will know which connections I have. And it will be very, very quick response to that. But all of these kind of Web2 powerful knowledge graphs are closed down. So there's no connections between them, because one company has their own knowledge graph, the other one has their own knowledge graph, the third one has their own knowledge graph, and they're only gathering the value for basically their proprietary motives. What the decentralized knowledge graphs does is takes the knowledge graph technology and it deploys it over a decentralized network. So right now we don't have just one company or one server holding the entire knowledge graph, but instead we have a connection of 2,500 nodes globally that are sharing this knowledge graph. And what is so powerful is that we can still ask that same knowledge graph a question, and you will receive a response that from all these 2,500 nodes, depending on what the question is that you asked. But all of us can also add to it. So it's not just limited to someone deciding, okay, this is now what really the kind of the walls of these knowledge graphs are. This doesn't have walls. It's open, it's interoperable, it's permissionless, so it can be used and the network can be joined by anyone as well. And so from that perspective, it takes that value that the Web2 giants had locked down, and it opens it up to the entire community of OriginTrail users and the future internet.
Okay, amazing. And just as Google indexes Web2 and the OriginTrail decentralized knowledge graph is indexing the entirety of Web3 and transforming data silos into valuable Web3 assets, how does publishing and acquiring the decentralized knowledge graph work?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start it off. So if you look at the indexing that Google did for Web2 and what type of value that created. So just the concept of having a search engine and being able to search for something, that discoverability, how much more usable the internet became because we had that chance. What we're trying to do is do the same for any type of asset. How powerful is it if you are able to discover anything that can be described as an asset, again, spanning from the digital realm to the real world as well. And that discoverability or indexing of different items, in the case of Google, which was the websites or the information on the internet, and then in case of OriginTrail, assets, it's enormous type of value. But publishing is something that's kind of very tight to how do you grow this, because Google had these spiders and crawlers, and they are basically organizing that information for their own proprietary gain. What OriginTrail really creates is a chance for publishing to be done by anyone, and it's very, in a way, getting easier and easier. So it can be done either through utilizing more developer-oriented tools, but with the project Magnify, it's going to be also possible for any basically Web3 or OriginTrail community member to engage with the same technology and be that person who helps publish more to the decentralized knowledge graph and be the owner of what they published on the decentralized knowledge graph. So that's really powerful because the ownership gets distributed between everyone who's publishing. And then querying on the other side, which is kind of like who are the consumers of these assets, whoever chooses to search for it, they use, again, the same logic. You can use it with the developer tools, so like an API, and you would send a request and you would receive a query response in all these very structured, strong powerful kind of data formats. Or alternatively, you can also be a community participant who goes and interacts with something like Project Magnify and is able to have a very kind of like an interface that you're accustomed to, a search window or some clickable interface, and you are still able to find, discover, to verify, and to build value from the assets that are on the decentralized knowledge graph. So both sides have capabilities of being used by the developers, like a component, like an internet database, or used by the community of Web3 users, which can use it as something that they try to create some value for themselves.
Okay, amazing. And how do we get all humanities assets into Web3?
Yeah, it's a long-term play. We started by creating applications that would solve certain critical issues within supply chains already a few years ago, and the assets that are created there, so essentially information or data assets, are helping advance trust and transparency in supply chains, which is a very important thing for the whole mankind. And this is one of the ways we were able or have been able to bring certain crucial mankind, or something very, very important for human beings into the decentralized knowledge graph. So that was the first step. Now that we're transitioning towards the newest version of OriginTrail, which is called the V6, we are also inviting builders and Web3 community members to start creating assets by themselves on the decentralized knowledge graph. And we're allowing them to do so now because it's becoming increasingly less difficult to create assets. And this is where just about anybody can decide which asset is important for him or her. It can be NFT that is representing a physical asset, or just it can be art or a certificate even. They can also create asset out of social media profiles, out of the things that were published on social media. We know that nowadays plenty of important things or informational assets are disappearing from the internet because certain centralized entities are deciding that someone should be blocked. What we're also allowing for is for preservation of such crucial informational assets that would potentially disappear in the future because they are susceptible to manipulation by centralized entities. And by allowing anybody, like normal people, to create assets, we're essentially giving away tools for them to decide which are those most important assets which they would like to preserve well into the future.
After reviewing your Twitter and a lot of stuff, I found out that one more topics I want to add it in because I saw that the new ecosystem map released recently provides a holistic view of growing landscape partners. And could you highlight some of the important partners to us?
I need to unmute myself if I want to speak. Yeah, it's really cool that we're able to somehow create an ecosystem map and just highlight a few partnerships with OriginTrail, although there are many more. So it's important. It's impossible to put them all on a single format, such a small format. But there are several that we would point out because they also have far-reaching consequences for the entire OriginTrail ecosystem, as they are the ones who are striving for the adoption of decentralized knowledge graph in many sectors. One of such partners is the British Standards Institution, and they're quite old and very reputable organization, which essentially is behind many important standards that are linked to many important sectors in supply chains, be it pharmaceuticals or just about anything. So what we do, we build solutions on top of the decentralized knowledge graph together with them, and then they push those applications to many other partners of theirs. One such example is the SCAN Association. It's a supplier compliance audit network association, which was formed by some of the biggest retailers in the US, such as Walmart, Costco, Home Depot, and as I said, they are exchanging audit reports. We're also working with non-governmental organizations which work within the pharmaceutical space, attempting to bring humanitarian aid in terms of the medicine to less developed markets. And what we do there, we help them trace and make sure that the crucial medicine really reaches the intended markets, and that it is administered to the right patients. And these are typically very important medicines, without which those people would most likely even die. And one such organization is called the World Federation of Hemophilia. It's an NGO that organizes, that works with the biggest donor organizations, the biggest pharmaceutical producers, and then they're responsible for the distribution of the donated medicine they get from the donor organization towards the patients that are in need of such medicine. We also work with companies within the transportation sector. One such example is the Swiss Federal Railways. So what we essentially do there, we help them ensure safety of their passengers by allowing them to bring into a single decentralized repository all crucial informational assets on the spare parts, or even the parts within their entire railway system. I would invite anybody to just check the OriginTrail ecosystem map. It's on my Twitter profile. You're going to be able to walk through each and every partner, and there's also a lot of resources on our website and on our Medium blog post through which you can really get to know what each partnership has brought and what it will bring in the future.
Okay.
Tomasz, do you have any other partnership that you would like to cherry pick?
Yeah, any partners you would like to highlight?
I mean, like there's a lot of streams. Like these partnerships are also not just a one-off thing or a single tailored kind of implementation of something. They're actually pointing to the whole fields that can get disrupted with these types of technologies, like Žiga was mentioning in pharma. If you look at how currently information in international trade is being handled, it also creates a very big opportunity for technologies like the decentralized knowledge graph that OriginTrail is building to really kind of increase the efficiencies that we're seeing. So one case that we mentioned before as well, which was the scan association, and that was the exchanging of the security audits between across the globe, basically, right? So that's really kind of like a powerful utilization of these types of technologies. And then when the interesting part that is kind of opening up with this is that it's not, as we bring this whole kind of like real world or even we create the bridge between the real world and the what is the digital native assets. We also create the bridge to enable all these Web3 tools to get used on these same use cases. So these assets are then becoming available in this case on Polkadot ecosystems. And here we had a lot of very interesting discussions, as well as the kind of identified opportunities with other Polkadot builders, for example, right? So the likes of Akala, that are bringing in the whole DeFi hub. Well, all of these DeFi elements or tools are then able to be used for assets which are OriginTrail. So think along the lines of how you can collateralize some of the things that you own by using these DeFi tools, or Engine and their affinity parachain, which is kind of like the metaverse of the metaverse parachain within the Polkadot. Again, like these assets that are being represented within affinity or these types of metaverses are something that can have a representation on the decentralized knowledge graph and can kind of grow that value that these assets have by creating more and more knowledge around a particular asset, right? Then you have the parallel again, which we kind of worked already within our crowd loan with, and so there's a lot of these different tools that are getting introduced through the Polkadot that together with OriginTrail open up so many more new opportunities for all these already growing use cases within different domains, whether that is within the real world sector or whether that's within the kind of digitally native digital native assets. So I think it's quite exciting, and I'm really looking forward to. There's a story behind every logo, and I'm excited to see how each of those stories that on the ecosystem map of logos will develop. And obviously within Polkadot, there's network effects. As you guys wearing the the T-shirt of Mr. or Dr. Sorry, Dr. Bob Metcalfe, who framed the law of network effects, saying how if we how connectivity is really key, and with the adding of the in his case, the different nodes within the network, we're actually increasing the value of the entire network much faster. And that's the same thing that's happening within the Polkadot communities. When we're adding new nodes or new parachains, which are bringing useful tools to the table, the value of the entire network that we can do together when we're combining them is just much larger. And a humble brag, Dr. Bob Metcalfe is actually also the advisor of Trace Labs, of the core development team of OriginTrail. So we're really excited to have him on board as well and learn from him. Yeah, I went a lot of different ways. I hope that kind of wasn't too widespread.
And OriginTrail secured a Polkadot slot in May, and OriginTrail is amongst the 5 most influential projects on Polkadot. So let's talk about why do you choose Polkadot and how does Polkadot empower OriginTrail?
One of the most important reasons is that Polkadot does not label itself as yet another Ethereum killer, but rather seeks to foster interoperability between different blockchains. And interoperability between different blockchains is highly important because we want to grow value not only by deploying our own solutions, but becoming interoperable with other blockchain solutions. And this is where the value will grow according to the law of network effects. Like Tomaz pointed out, this guy right here, this photo, he's the formulator of this law of network effects. That's one. So the interoperability, then definitely shared security. So the pooled security that Polkadot enables, it is far more safer and efficient to deploy parachain, so the layer 1 blockchain on Polkadot, than it is to spawn your own blockchain network, which is costly and oftentimes not that secure. And going this way, OriginTrail secured its own blockchain with so many more capabilities in a much more safer way. Another reason why we went for parachain is that we could set up and launch a OriginTrail specific blockchain, specifically tailored for what we need, for what the decentralized knowledge graph needs. And by doing so, we are now able to do so much more stuff than we were able back in the past, when OriginTrail was mainly based on Ethereum blockchain and Ethereum layer 2s such as Matic and Gnosis. So bottom line is that Polkadot is secure, and having OriginTrail parachain on Polkadot, we're bringing this full security onto parachain. And another thing is interoperability and the specifics that we were able to embed into OriginTrail parachain, important for the decentralized knowledge graph. And of course, the community behind the Polkadot, a community of developers, a community of people that are involved in Polkadot is highly important for us. And we're happy to see that this community is growing. We're working with other parachains. It's a very collaborative environment rather than competitive, which we see in so many other blockchain ecosystems. And it's really fun to be working with other parachains and within the Polkadot community. And that's surely also one of the reasons why we decided for the Polkadot journey.
Okay, then let's talk about the challenges. Because doing a project, there's a lot of work and there's a lot of hurdles. And so what are the challenges you are facing and how to overcome?
I think we're mostly facing the challenges which are linked to the adoption of the OriginTrail technologies. Right now, there is so much demand for such technologies, but it is really difficult sometimes to scale as fast as we would want to, because the Web3 space is still small. There's still not enough developers within the Web3 space. And for this reason, we also work with other parachains and the wider Polkadot community in the kind of devising new approaches towards bringing new developers into the ecosystem. So this is definitely one of the challenges. How can we meet the demand which is outstanding for blockchain solutions, such as Polkadot solutions and OriginTrail solutions in a timely fashion? This is definitely one of the challenges. Another perhaps challenge is still a little bit poor understanding of what it means to be developing blockchain solutions for the real world, because it takes a little bit more time to develop something for let's say supply chains or for real enterprises, for real challenges that exist outside of the Web3 space. We've been doing that for the last 10 years, and once we had become established, it's becoming much easier. It's still challenging though to really communicate to the people within the Web3 space why it is important to really cater to the mainstream, not only to the blockchain communities, because this is where the real growth is going to be generated, not within the existing Web3 communities, but outside of the Web3 communities, where we have still so many people who are either unbanked, or still so many enterprises which have so many challenges that could be tackled with Web3 technologies. Just to name a few. I'm sure Tomaz have plenty others in his mind.
Yeah, I'm thinking what Bob kind of Metcalf said when he was asked the same question, what he kind of saw, and he mentioned that it's just the kind of the understanding of the whole picture of how OriginTrail operates, and then is something that can be a bit of a challenge, but on the other hand, that's an opportunity, because those who do kind of wrap their heads around it, they're usually so hooked. You cannot unsee it in a way. It's like they go down the rabbit hole, and then they really see how powerful OriginTrail with the approach that kind of we're taking, and as a community even can really be. So there's like an opportunity in learning about these types of technologies, because it creates a much more holistic understanding of the Web3 infrastructure or the entire landscape, and how really the impact is getting created. So those that kind of do go in, then usually refer to OriginTrail as a hidden gem or something like that, because of the fact that it's kind of it's a bit hard, it's a bit bigger investment to to wrap your hand around the entire concept. Once you get it, it's very easy to see how it will kind of have an impact in the future. So I think that's, and that one, but although that is kind of getting a bit closed down as well slowly, because with the introduction of the parachain and with the new version of OriginTrail that is coming, these tools will be so evident in a way how you can really use it, and how even as a community member, not as an enterprise user, you can really see the value very quickly. So my prediction would be that that type of understanding gap is going to be closing. So there's going to be more and more people that will be faster in understanding how OriginTrail is functioning and what's the value that it's bringing. So I'm excited about that we're addressing it, and we're really working towards that. But it's definitely one of the challenges that we are currently still facing.
Yeah, I'm exciting as well. So next, let's talk about the future plans. What's your future plans in terms of marketing, development, extra?
Yeah, I can take the first step. I mean, like even the near future is going to be, there's a lot of activity happening right now. There's quite a few parallel things that are all reaching certain maturity levels. So you'll see in our backgrounds, we have the V6, which is the sixth version of OriginTrail's decentralized knowledge graph. It's not really fair, because it's not just a jump from 5 to 6. It's the biggest update we've had since 2017, when it was kind of the first network was designed. So it's a very important update that is bringing all of these things that we were talking about even before into reality. So in a way, like Polkadot was building for a lot of time, and then we only can count as Polkadot being live in the last few months when the parachains really started kind of going. Similarly, OriginTrail's V6 is bringing that level of really just jump. It's going to be very much more powerful in a way of how we can transform even the previous adoption as well as the future adoption that's coming. And then parachain, it's another very exciting topic, which has been launched in June, but a lot of updates are right now through the different phases getting onboarded onto the parachain mainnet, and that's very powerful because we just have new functionalities getting enabled. So that's like one activity on this point is we're teleporting Trace, so the TRAC token, which is pertaining to the decentralized knowledge graph from Ethereum to the parachain. So that's going to be a big one. And then like the project Magnify, which addresses the challenge that we were talking about before about the complexity of understanding, because it's really like Project Magnify's idea is really how do we magnify the future internet with onboarding a lot of assets, creating this. So it's going to start with something that's called Own Your Search Result. So redefining a search engine towards the Web3 future. With ownable search results, and then kind of like really, driving that. So that's going to be a very, very exciting thing because it brings OriginTrail closer to the community compared to how it was in the future. So I'll say those three for me, and then I'll let Žiga fill in.
Short term, it's going to be exciting to see all the footprint that has been happening on other chains, on Ethereum and others. From the OriginTrail network to be transitioned onto OriginTrail parachain on Polkadot. And there is a lot of applications which have been generating a lot of very useful information for so many companies. And that footprint, that traffic is now coming to Polkadot via parachain. And this is really exciting in a short term. Then we have plenty of interesting stuff happening within the tokenomics space, as OriginTrail parachain token is going also to be used to incentivize asset creation on the OriginTrail decentralized knowledge graph. And we're also introducing several ways of staking the tokens, either for improving visibility of your assets or to support the infrastructure of nodes who are exchanging information or maintaining assets on the OriginTrail parachain. We're also introducing collators. Also, request for proposals is coming out in a not that distant future. So it's we're bracing ourselves for a very busy end of the year, and we're welcoming anybody to jump into our Discord or jump into our Telegram to discuss and chat with other community members, which are really helpful. We have a lot of very eager community members who have been supporting the ecosystem for years now, and they're really helpful resource for anybody who decides to join the OriginTrail ecosystem.
Okay, great. And as our interview drawing to the end, anything you would like to add or to remark in terms of your OriginTrail, Polkadot, Web3, anything?
Yeah, the future is bright. We are what many would say in a bear market, but we are by no means in a bear market in terms of the exciting stuff happening within the Polkadot ecosystem, within the OriginTrail ecosystem. I would say that we're at the all-time high in terms of the developments, in terms of the new value being added to the ecosystems, and this value will only increase in the future. And I think we're Tomaz would also echo my thoughts if I say that we're all highly pumped for the future to come.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. It's one of those timings where really that the delta or the difference is amazing. Yeah, in terms of kind of like the excitement of the updates and then the strength of what's getting built compared to just general activity. It's the amount of outside kind of attention it draws. So I think that creates an opportunity as well for anyone that wants to learn now. It's a really good time to get involved in the OriginTrail community. You'll find it also on the website. There's plenty of different channels that you can get engaged with, and we're very welcoming to all newcomers. And hopefully we can do great stuff together.
And the OriginTrail is changing how we view Web3 and as a world in general, and it will continue to do so in the future. And may everything a great success. Thank you so much. That's all for today's interview, and keep tuned.